Welcome to the Ironwood Gym. Today, we're going to go over the top 3 ways to build a big squat. Starting with number 3, and that's create stability. In order to create stability, you have to have a very strong torso. The torso is the link between your legs and the bar. If that link is weak, or if it is not held in with proper tightness, you're essentially losing energy that could be transferred from your legs to the bar. Therefore, you will not be squatting as much weight. Now, the torso consists of all the muscles basically in between the shoulders and the legs, or the hips. So we need to be focusing on things such as the traps, the lats, the obliques, the low back, and the abs. The traps have to be locked in from before the time you ever take the bar out of the rack. You want to use the traps to pull the bar, or to pull your shoulder blades both back and down. Okay? Once you get locked into that position, you will have a very good shelf to sit the bar on, and that will create immense tightness in the upper back. Next would be the lats. Again, before you ever take the bar out of the rack, take your hands and pull the bar down as if you're trying to bend it over your back. That will create a lot of tightness in the lats and help you, along with the traps, maintain a very tight and rigid upper back. Moving down, we have the low back. Most people's low back is not strong enough. They need to devote significant time to exercises like reverse hypers, back extensions, and pull-throughs, or variations of those exercises, in order to strengthen the back efficiently. The low back is integral in keeping your spine from starting to round underneath that bar. If your low back is weak, there's a better chance you're going to round your back. But the low back doesn't do it all by itself. I've already talked about the lats. The low back actually works with the lats to create stability around the spine, at least on the posterior side of your spine. Next would be the obliques. I'm going to throw the abs right in there along with it. The obliques and the abs have to be held very tight. They are critical in ensuring that you have enough tightness to support the weight, and that you can transfer that energy from the bar, or from your legs, to the bar. If you just have a nice, soft, plush midsection, you're not going to be able to do that. If your abs are completely locked in, and your obliques are completely locked in, then you're going to have a much easier time squatting that weight. In fact, if your torso, your abs, obliques, low back, lats, and traps are all completely locked in, held very tight, the bar will actually feel much lighter on your back. This isn't something that just happens. You need to learn to work with this. Initially, it might feel harder to squat while you're holding all those muscles tight. If you've never done it before, it's not going to feel great right off the bat. Work at it. Spend time with it. Work at it. Continue to work at it time and time again. Over time, it's going to help help the bar feel much lighter on your back, as well as keep you in proper position while you're squatting. Number 2, build and strengthen the hamstrings. Now, this is going to be a 2-prong approach. You can't just simply go do some leg curls and expect to get much out of it. You have to strengthen the hamstrings through both hip extension and knee flexion. For knee flexion, I am a big proponent of glute ham raises. Leg curls may have their place. I do them from time to time. But glute ham raise, done strictly, is going to be the big money maker for building your hamstrings, especially from that knee flexion standpoint. But don't forget about hip extension. You need to put in exercises such as RDLs and good morning variations in order to properly train the hamstrings through hip extension. Your squat alone is not enough to build your hamstrings. You need more work, specific hamstring work, in order to bring the hamstrings up to a level where you can get something out of them in the squat. Number 1, technique. And you have to practice the principle of LEAP. L-E-P-E. Learn good technique. I don't care what style of squat you use, but you have to learn proper technique for whatever squat or style that is. Whether it be a powerlifter style squat, where you have a wide stance, you're sitting your hips back, your shins are vertical, something more like Chad Wesley Smith, where you have that wide stance, but you let your knees actually come forward over your toes. There's many different variations in between, but all the way to the extreme of a weightlifter style squat, where you're sitting more down, allowing your knees to come forward, and you have a more upright torso. It doesn't matter. Learn the technique that you are going to use. Learn it thoroughly. Different sources. You can read articles. You can read books. There's many sources that cover the squat. You can watch videos on YouTube. You can find some of the old videos that top squatters and top gyms have put out. There used to be an excellent video. I don't know if they sell it anymore. Elite FTS used to have a video called I think it was called the Squat and Deadlift Exercise Index that Jim Windler put out. It was an excellent source for quality technique, and they covered the squat in detail. Personal communication, talking to other lifters, going to gyms and seeing what they're doing. There's a lot to be learned. There's a lot of people out there that have a lot of knowledge. You have to seek out that knowledge and figure out exactly what technique you are going to use and what technique is best for you. Embrace. Don't choose the technique haphazardly and then toss it out the window in 3 months. Learn the technique, learn it thoroughly, and then embrace the technique by practicing it over and over and over and committing yourself to that technique. That's the E portion of LEAP. The P is practice, which I've already started to hit. You have to practice it over and over and over. When I first changed my squat technique from more of a narrow stance, sitting down more, letting my knees come forward, to a wide stance, shins vertical, sitting back hard, I actually lost weight off my squat. My technique wasn't quite there yet. It took time to build it up, and I didn't have strength built in the right areas for that new style of squat. So sometimes it takes a while to perfect what you want to be good at. But if you chose a technique and you embrace that technique, you've committed yourself to it, then take the time to practice over and over every single time you squat in the gym. Maybe even when you're at home, getting some extra reps in just body weight. Focusing on where your body is. Are you sitting back? Are you sitting down properly? Where is the weight on your foot? What position is your torso in? But always, always practice in order to get better at that technique. So that's the L, learn, E, embrace, P, practice, and back to E for execute. This is after you've gotten good at squatting. This is after you've gotten good at that technique that you're committing yourself to. You'll see yourself make progress over time. And as you make progress, and it's time to go test that 1 rep max or go to a competition, now it's time to execute. Execute everything you have learned through those first 3 steps. Execute a perfect squat on the day that it counts. If you do those 3 things, build the torso, strengthen the hamstrings, and practice LEAP when it comes to technique, your squat will go up. Okay, there's no questioning it. It will go up, and you will have, over time, build a big squat. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments. But until next time, always be in the pursuit of strength.